So when I was in college and when I was, just moved to London, I kind of said to myself, you know what, I'm never going to do cruise ships. It's not my thing, not what I want to do. I want to do this, this, and that. And then I went to Japan. I was there for a year, and then the audition came up, and because I'd been in Japan for a year, I thought, you know what, let me go to this audition because I'm out just to get back into the audition practice. Might be good to get it back in the room. And if I get offered a job, the cruise contract was only about 6 months long, so I could do it before going back to London and have a little bit more savings. So did the audition, got offered the job, did the contract, and as it was coming to the end of the contract, I was like, right, I'm going to be moving back to London, blah, blah, blah. And then they offered me the second contract. And that's how it's very easy to get into doing cruise ships for years and years, which if you love it, great, do it, because to travel, save money, easy. It's a no-brainer, really, if you enjoy doing it. So I was in a bit of a to and fro because I knew I wanted to be back in the UK, but then it's like, okay, well, this was going to be an 8-month contract. I could really save a lot of money. From going to Japan to then deciding to do a ship to then accepting a second ship, I was working with these creatives in Florida. Chase Benz choreographed 2 of the shows. Now he is choreographed for Britney Spears, Rihanna, Jennifer Lopez, The Chainsmokers. He was in, I don't know if these students will remember these movies, but I grew up watching them. Step Up, Stomp the Yard. He was in those films, which I would never have even probably had the opportunity to meet them. They're mainly from LA, New York, Vegas. If I hadn't took that risk of let me put another 8 months of my life aside to pursue this, and then and now it's worked out. Even the directors of the show are Broadway creatives. A cruise contract, which sometimes has stigma, but really the cruise ship industry is changing. It's not how it was 10, 15 years ago. Take every opportunity as it comes, and don't prejudge that opportunity with what you think it's going to be like, because I can guarantee it will not be.
So my typical day of working in the industry, especially on the cruise ships, is we're quite lucky where we do maybe in a week to 10 days of kind of your typical cruise lengths for the company I was working for. And we'd maybe do three different show nights, which is 2 shows a night because there's 2 sittings, because there's that many passengers and the theatres just aren't big enough. So you find on a lot of cruise liners that there's 2 shows, one at 8:45, so 8:45 in the evening, and then the second show of the same show, but the second sitting is 10:30. So we do, in the typical week, we'll do about that, 6 shows, and then the rest of the time, it's one of these where people kind of expect in these jobs. There's people on cruise liners I've worked with, and they just think they do the shows and that's it, and you get false advertised in auditioning for these roles when they say, you're coming into this show on the ship, blah blah blah, and then once you get the job, they then tell you that you've got to present 3 quizzes a week. You've got to attend the afternoon tea where you serve cakes. I love that, because I just have cheeky nibble as well. So you do that, and then you do like embark and debark duties as well, where on the changeover days. Because we're in a position where the entertainments department on the Fred Olsen I was working for, we're the only department that actually are English. The crew speak English, but we are the only English people. So they rely on us quite a lot in that sense, where we'll greet the passengers, welcome them to the ship, check them in.
I'll talk about the Royal Caribbean ship. So all of the passengers will get on a Saturday, and then we would do a thing called PAX drill, which was the safety drill for the passengers. Lasts about an hour. Bit annoying, but it's fine. And then you probably go have some dinner at 5-6 o'clock, and then warm up is at 7 till 7:30. So you would do a physical and then a vocal, about 15 minutes each, and then you get an hour to go away, get ready, set your props, set your costumes and stuff, and then the show will be at 8:30. And Hairspray was about an hour and a half. So it was like a cut down version of the show. I think it had like about 3 numbers cut out of it. So we would normally finish at about 10 o'clock. Sundays it was a matinee, so I had a 3 o'clock show, so the same thing with the warm-ups, presets and stuff. And then you would get your Sunday night off. Then Monday you had the full day off, but then quite a late show, so it was a 9:30 show. So sometimes you wouldn't really get out the theatre till like 12 o'clock. But it's different because on ships, everything is for the guests. So if they have a dinner at 8 o'clock, then it's perfect for them to come and watch a show at 9:30. If you're in a reblock, then you'll probably work your days off of like reblocking the show and like putting understudies in. We actually had 37 reblocks. Like they've never known that ever. We had 37 reblocks. And then on Thursdays and Fridays, you do the production show. And our show was a show called Flight. So you would we'll have a 2-show day on a Thursday. On a Friday, it's a really late show, a 10:30 show. But Flight was a big show. I was about an hour. So, but again, you would probably get out at about midnight after you've like taken your makeup off, cleared your props and stuff. So yeah, that's the week. Like we do 6 shows a week, but you get 2 days off bang in the middle. And the 2 days that you get off are always the port days. So like you can go get off, have a drink. So the singers also do, I mean, it's optional to do this, but most singers did it. We do cabarets. It was either like Tuesdays or Wednesdays every other week, which was in like a little jazz bar. And it was mainly just like people's rep songs from musical theatre songs. So we do cabarets. Sometimes you might get like businesses who come on and who like pay for a separate performance, a private performance for them.
It's my last ship contract. I actually broke up with, my boyfriend is in the band, and I broke up with him during that contract. And literally that night, without going into too much detail, I had to go on stage and perform with him and do a big 70s party. And that for me was like the hardest thing I've ever had to do, because you sort of like, you literally have to just put everything aside. If you're going to get in a relationship with anyone you're working with, honestly, just don't do it. It's not worth it. Because if it goes wrong, you have to perform with them every day. And then that continued. Like I had to work on stage with them every day, and we'd just broken up. That was a tough contract because of those reasons. But again, you learn from it.
I think if you don't get on with your roommates, like, dancers also do parade. And so in our cast, you have featured singers, featured actors, lead singers, and then dancers. And a couple of the featured actors actually did the parade because they were like the MCs. The thing is, if you're a singer, the best role within the cruise ship world is to be a singer because you get all of the privileges and you have a really nice life on board. Some dancers love it, but I know a lot of the dancers really struggled because you just don't ever have your own space.
But one of the biggest responsibilities I've found on the ship is they make us become the muster leaders. Now that's in case, God forbid, if anything was to happen to the ship, then us again, being English, we have to be the ones that communicate with the guests and say, listen, it's a drill, we're going to have to be going to lifeboats, we're going to have to abandon, whatever has to happen, we are those people. So as well as just singing and dancing, what we all think is the luxury bit, there's a lot to it as well.
You have, on ships, you don't get that option, and that's another thing. You very rarely in a band, even in production shows, you don't really get a day off. You don't get to have a sick day. You don't get to say, oh, I broke up with my boyfriend, I can't perform tonight, because there's 500 guests that are coming to this party that have paid thousands of pounds to be on the ship. And you just because I don't want to go on stage because I broke up with my boyfriend, they don't care. Like, you've got to go on stage and do your job, cry afterwards.
I get why it's addictive, because as you say, you're traveling the world, you're doing what you love. The money's 10 times better than the West End, 10 times. So I get it, but right now I don't think I'm going to do one. I think like cruise ships are always going to be there, and I think now that I've got quite a nice credit, I want to like see what's next. Yeah.
But what I find, it's a great life. It's a very sociable life. which I think is great. That comes with a job, you know. And it can get boring as luxury as it is, like luxurious it is. You know, you repeat. You know, it's like every other job. You're repeating it. But I like it. In every job I've done, not one week has been the same.